Greetings. So the next one I'm focusing on, the next time frame is down on 20, up on 22, rebirth of the sun, or the 24th. Hey, 23rd's big too, if I remember correctly. Or down on Christmas Eve, up at the full moon for IPEC goat, right? He rose up through a full moon. But I am really looking at down on Wednesday, the 27th, up on Friday. Remember, Wednesday and Friday are married to each other in Norse mythology. Wednesday, named after Odin, was married to Frigg, which is what Friday's named after. The only female is Friday. So that's the union. And the union of the snake, we need to make sure we look that up. The union of the snake, Duran Duran, Wikipedia. So we'll make sure that. Okay, October 17th. Fantastic. That's a rising. That's 117 coded. Of course, it came out in 1983, Murder Code 8398, which sits in the middle of 1983. 98th verse is White Horse verse. And the length, of course, 420 for the total solar eclipse. All this is bouncing off of. And it's flower full moon, which made Obama start to sweat when it bloomed in IPEC goat. That was this past year's flower full moon. That came from Lily, as she represented the total solar eclipse sitting inside the corona. There's only one total solar eclipse that has delivered a flower full moon in recent times and heading into the future, and that was this year's on 420. So the kicker for me was looking at Trump's age on the rising day, and my friend, or a person I know, born 10/28/1973, first name comes to goddess Isis. If you remember her name, great. I'm not gonna get into it anymore. There is 383 in the middle of the minutes, but she will be 18322 days on the 86ing day. And then Trump would turn 28322 days on the rising day. So they have that 322 combo of going down and rising on Odin to Frigg. And if you include both dates, they're 9999 days apart, 9,999 days apart. And her number this year, she's born 10/28 times 1973. Her number is 55244. When you times it by the year 2023, it begins with the 1117 of Zechariah, fused with 17:5. Revelation 17:5 is Mystery Babylon the Great, followed by the 86, and then 12 for the church. So once a deadly wound takes place, what's also in there? The rising, the 117, Revelation 11:7. It's built into the 1117 number because the 86ing and the rising are basically a fluid movement that has to take place, like Jesus's, death and resurrection. The Antichrist doesn't really die, but does his twin body double clone does, and then he will become possessed through whatever ritual they're going to do. And then he will go and lead World War III. And so she has that built in, and that's how old she is on the 86ing day, the 1117 day. She is 322, but it's 18322. So you have the 18, which is 6 plus 6 plus 6. You have the 83, which is murder code in one of the Gematria ciphers that we've shown you many times. And then it's fused all, of course, with the 322. She's 18,000 322 days old, 18,322 days old. This is a big deal because her and Trump being that 2 days apart in the thousands range, 998 days apart if you include both dates, both, her birthday and his, 9,999 days apart, literally 4 nines. So she is one to track, and she has a daughter who was born 3 times 19 times 1998. And her number comes to the 138, 38 murdered dead center, 88 for Trump. So 138 is Donald Trump and simple gematria. 88 is Trump and simple gematria, and you have the 86ing of him, which is, of course, the 38 murder code. And there's that 113. I'm going to get into that right now. But that, 11-3. 11-3 is 311, 11-3. They put One World Trade Tower went into business on 11-3, which is 311 coding. It's all about 33, of course. And so that's symbolic of the Antichrist rising on the 3rd day. So all of that's really fused into her number. And so we look at her on the 86ing day. She's got 98 code, 25 years, 9 months, 8 days. 98th verse is White Horse verse. If you run it to the 29th, if and when you include both dates, she then is 9/11, which is what that date was all about, was actually the rising of the Antichrist. You're like, well, that's when it went down. Went down and rose, which is what her number is about. The 86ing of him, but his rising also of that 11-3. And I just discovered that in my head today, right then with y'all in real time. And because when I said I saw the 11-3, I'm not going to talk about it. That was actually something else that was in my head. And then it dawned on me. Good grief, that's 311 code. So when you include both dates, that's a big deal right there. 135 begins the minutes. And we know that the 135th prime number is 761. 761 is the sum of 404 plus 357. 404, the number of verses in end times Revelation. 357, the number of verses in end times Daniel. They're the Old and New Testament mirror images of each other. And she also has 9/11 coded down here to 309 months, 11 days. 9/11 was about the rising, yes, because September was once the 7th month, and most countries write their dates backwards. So it's really 11/7, which is Revelation 11/7, the rising. And what rose up? One World Trade Tower. If we run the days, just let's run the days. 2001, 9/11. 2, I think it's 2014. One World Trade Tower, Wikipedia. I know it. I know that it's 2014, but I just want to make complete sure. Opened November 3rd, 2014. Okay. Wonder if there's a clue in the number. It's 4801, and that's the total solar eclipse on August 1st, 801. Which is when I saw the Dark Knight on a total solar eclipse. The day after I began all those personal ciphers that connect to everything. which also connects to Trump's 88022, which was the following day. The 802 sits in the middle of that. So in 48 is Donald Trump in one of the Gematria ciphers, of course. So if you want to see which one that is, well, we can just. That's why Jimmy Johnson was winning all of those races on number 48. It was just rigged sports once again. It's in full reduction 48. So he's 138 where A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, called English ordinal or simple gematria. He's 48 in full reduction. Donald Trump is 159 in reverse ordinal. In reverse full reduction, a complete 60, which is leap day. It's the 60th day and quantum leap. We've got to look at leap day. If we make it that far, we have got to look at that day like it's going out of style. Hey, it's 11/3, y'all. The date we were just looking at. 11/3, 11/30, 44. That's funny. So that's a big deal. Okay. Those 322s that they all share. And the way the other one comes up with the 9/11 on the rising day, including both dates. And my Mayday friend is literally, remember that anomaly that she and I share last year on 3/11. She will be 14,121 days old on the rising day, which means Antichrist. On the 86ing day, she is 14119, which is Donald in simple gematria. At the 38 years old, the murder code years old, she is until May 1st. But 121 on 12/9. I, in fact, on the 30th will be 22/8/22. On Alec Baldwin Day, I was 22/0/22. On the total solar eclipse, I will be 22/9/22. Yes, that's true. On Alec Baldwin Day, I was 22/0/22. On this coming total solar eclipse, I'll be 22/9/22. So the 22's at the beginning, the 22's at the end, with a 0 through 9 in the middle. 0 on Alec Baldwin Day in the middle with the 22's on each side. 9 in the middle with the 22's on each side on the total solar eclipse. How mind-blowing is that? And if we were to look, how does the math work with that? Let's run Alec Baldwin Day to next year's total solar on 4/8. It's a perfect 900 days. That's why it works like that. Okay. So it's just something to think of. It's a perfect, that's, that's going to be the biggest high watch day we've ever had in our lives. The X across America. Are you kidding me? And my Mayday friend and I, remember Trump and I's combined number? I'm 7/6/1961, so I'm 82362. Trump is 614 times 9, 6 times 14 times 1946. He is 163464. My Mayday friend turned that many days old, the first 5 digits of Trump. Trump and I have a 322 in the middle. That's why we've got to watch that 322. Got to. Because Trump and I's combined number has the 322 in the middle, the 1968 at the end, which was the 2 assassinations of RFK and MLK. The first 5 digits are 13463. My Mayday friend turned that many days old on March 11th, 3/11/2022. 33 days later, I turned that many days old, the next 5 digits, on April 13th, 33 days after that was the total solar eclipse. So we track that, as y'all know. I've shown y'all this a million times. We hope we're not putting you to sleep. But it lands on New Year's Eve. It lands on Groundhog Day. Then March 6th, every 33 days that we track it from that, from 3/11/2022. Then it lands on the total solar eclipse. What's the chances of that? What's the chances it lands on Groundhog Day, then a total solar eclipse? My divorce date of Groundhog Day. Which, on the spiritual sense, just like he's been reliving that day until he finally became a man of the world and a people pleaser to the world. I've been spiritually through that divorce. The Lord's been beating the world out of me. In other words, a man not of the world. You think the AI made that movie based off one of God's characters that would be doing end times Bible prophecy teaching? You wouldn't put it past him, would you? How many people are telling the truth in God's word and also tracking all this kind of stuff in the end times here? That scene in Spectre, you're a kite dancing in a hurricane, Mr. Bond. It wasn't James Bond. We have got to look at that date. That's a big date now. There's too much going on in and or around that time frame. My Bible study channel, you asked? It's TS Daily Bible Studies. TS Daily Bible Studies. Look at that, 23 views. 20 views, 23, then 12, 7. 14, 5, 5, 21. 3, 11, 17, 3. I wonder if that one on Wednesday still has no views. Still no views. 3 weeks ago. That's just fascinating to me. Top Gun Maverick on the 86th day of 12/27 on Odin Day, Wednesday. 579 days, 79 murder code. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, isn't it? On the Rising Day on the 29th. It's 83 even weeks. I don't know, 581. If you look at the marching 4th of the Batman release, oh boy, if you include both dates, 666 days. Might as well do all of them now. Might as well do the Dark Knight Rises on the Rising Day of the 29th. They're not going to give them all to us, are they? They always mislead with too many breadcrumbs. They won't make it that easy, will they? 4179 for murder code. So what are they telling you? The Dark Knight Rises on 12/29 from the what? Murder. Go to the 86ing day on the 27th. To the Dark Knight, 4 years previous. Nothing really. Even if you back it up 4 days, nothing really. Because they had a premiere on the 14th. 5636 is what it would be. That's funny that yeah, that's actually pretty comical. I know an address that I belonged to that was 5636 forever. There's a lot to that. I think it's 12 times 53 also. That's 636, that's right. Which was in that number. Anyway, yeah, I would say like Skyfall, Take the Bloody Shot. Might as well look at that, which I think was 11.9. $4,065. Oh, it's got 1111118. That's not 111117 though. But look at the months. 13.3 for Revelation 13.3. Okay, that's a direct hit then. Revelation 13.3 is the first time deadly wound is mentioned. And it is 133 months and 18 days to the 86ing day. And to the rising day, you do have the 120 coded for Adam in Old Testament, H120. If you go to Skyfall's other premiere, which was 1026, we'll do Donnie Darko's to it also. There's that 81 again. It's everywhere. So on 127, sorry. There it is, murder code on the murdering day. That's right. When you see the 81 on the rising day, it's always 79 murder code. I guess we need to bring that up for y'all. The murder. Why is 79 murder code? And murder in simple gematria, which is your most used one. I always use the Israel for spiritual. I mean Jewish gematria, but more of a biblical sense. 399. English ordinal 79. The 38 is reverse full reduction. The 83 is reverse ordinal. The 34 for murder is full reduction. All of them are coded in stuff they do. But sure enough, let me keep going. Where was I? Where was I? Yep, Skyfall. 4079, murder. What else is there? 11 years, 2 months, 1 day. 121 Antichrist coded. Goodness gracious. I want you to look at the percent of a common year. 1117.53. 1117 for Zechariah 1117.53. Goodness gracious. This is a big deal. All right, we'll go Donnie Darko. That's the last one of the big ones. You know, there's Apocalypse Now, Apocalypto, and Godfather, and all that stuff we'll start looking at. Got 222 code and 2223 code on the rising day. So it's 8097 days, but it's 22 years, 2 months, 1 day. Unless you include both dates, and it's 22, 2, 2. But we don't have to do that. On the rising day, it's 222 fused with 223. It's 22 years, 2 months, 3 days. 8099 days. The other release date was that a premiere for Donnie Darko? Let's run it. It's 83 murder and 79 murder on the rising day. 2:01 in the hours. 22 years, 11 months, 10 days. You have your 1110, the Twin Towers. They were 1110 in height. If you run it to the 86ing day, because see, Donnie Darko did both. He died and he rose. There were two different stories going on in Donnie Darko. It was the one about the one that lives, moving forward, and then the one that died. So it's 83 for Murder Code, 77 for Eve. 8377. 37 is 8377. What's in the middle? 37. Now 37 is the 12th prime number. 12 is the number for the church. 37 is that number that goes into 999, 888, 777, all the way down to 111. 222, all of them. So I would say it's a very ripe time. It's the day after, and it's within 24 hours because it's a very late full moon. The full moon is the 26th. The cold full moon. All right, love y'all. Good stuff.